Hello, so this is for the subject risk management, and the topic for this video is risk management responsibilities. Okay, so in the previous videos, we've discussed risk management policy and risk management documentation. Essentially, sa record keeping, kailangan ay nakastate doon kung sinong particular na tao ang magiging responsible for dealing with particular risk. Okay, so para diba, para alam kung sino yung mag-a-address or mag-a-handle ng particular risk and hindi nagtuturuan ang mga empleyado or managers kung sino ang dapat gumawa, okay, on that particular risk. Okay, so in this one, allocation of responsibilities. Okay, ang isang company, isang organization, hindi lang naman iisa yung risk na kinakaharap nila. So it's an array of different types of risk, and it would also depend on the departments or aspect of business. Magkakaiba rin sila ng types of risks na dinideal with. So, yung responsibilities for those particular risks is kailangan allocated din siya. And of course, kung sino yung directly involved or directly affected nung particular risk na yun, edi malamang sa malamang siya yung appropriate na maging responsible for those risks. Okay? And then, although you have the main person na responsible for those risks, syempre, lahat din naman ng empleyado, they need to observe pa din yung mga embedded controls in the guidelines or activities ng company para, to support the management of those risks. Okay? So, everybody working for the organization will need to be made aware of their risk management responsibilities, as will contractors and suppliers. Okay? So, before you enter into a contract with a contractor or supplier, syempre, kailangan nakalatag dun yung expectations nyo. Okay? Kailangan properly made aware sila and properly communicated yung inyong expectations. Okay? From the supplier, of course, want to make sure na yung quality of materials hindi magbabago, di ba? Kung ano yung quality of materials that we've inspected before we enter into an agreement, kailangan yan pa rin yung type of materials na isusupply nyo sa amin. Hindi yung bigla nyo babaguhin into substandard materials. And then, of course, yung delivery. If we place an order now, within, let's say, 3 or 5 days, kailangan ma-deliver nyo siya sa amin para hindi maapektuhan yung aming operations, para dire-diretso lang yung aming production. Okay? Tapos, of course, yung costing din, dapat ay napapag-usapan agad beforehand. You have your limits. And then you have your contractors, di ba, merong mga deadlines din yan. Kailangan within a few months, kailangan tapos na yung building na pinapagawa sa inyo. And of course, mga expectations nga na quality materials ang ginamit. Okay? And then, of course, costing ulit. And then, safety ng mga workers. And since ginagawa in the premise of the business, kailangan make sure din na yung contractors, they are aware of their responsibilities with that. Okay, kasi baka mamaya may aksidente, may mamatay, di ba? Although contractor yan, since nasa premises yung business, edi may impact din sa business. So they also have to make sure na properly manage yung mga tauhan din ng contractors and whatnot. And of course, before they will deal with other suppliers, china-check din yung kanilang mga core values, yung kanilang reputation, kasi baka mamaya bad yung kanilang reputation, since kukunin silang supplier, magkakaroon ng, affiliation, and it would look bad, diba, kapag let's say kinriticize yung isang company, tapos let's say nalaman ng tao na, oh, this other company is, dealing with that, kumukuha sa kanila ng supply, ng materials or kung ano man. So, di ba, yung i-criticize din yung mga companies that are affiliated with just one company na with a bad reputation. Okay? So, may mga ganong types of risk. Na let's say, kapag na-involve kayo in something negative, di ba, we'll cut off the relationship immediately. Okay? Kasi, of course, you don't want to be embroiled in another company's controversy. Okay? So, may mga ganun. And of course, mga companies naman, they don't rely on just one supplier. Sometimes, meron silang 2 or more. Siguro mga 2 to 3. Tapos, they have, of course, backup na madaling kontakin na suppliers din. Okay? So, may mga ganun. Kumbaga, setting a proper expectations, communication then, and of course, yung responsibilities nila in that particular agreement, okay? So, yan. There is not always a common view of risk management or the issues that are important to the organization. Okay? Kasi walang common, kasi nga, magkakaibang business in different industries, different sizes, different complexities. Talagang magkakaiba yung magiging view ng risk management and the issues. Ayan. So, yung ownership of core processes, ito yung procedures, key dependencies and risk is important because it enables the risk management and audit committee to monitor actions and responsibilities. Itong ownership, more like, acceptance of risk, okay? Okay, we accept na meron yung risk na nandiyan yan, present in the organization. That's already owning up to it. And of course, with acceptance is yung kasunod, you have to deal with it, right? And when you deal with it, you have to check the core processes, the dependencies nga. Okay. Any confusion of responsibilities and reporting structure must be eliminated. Okay. Responsibilities, sino ang main person na responsible for a particular risk. Okay. Yung responsibility, maran, dealing with it, implementation of controls, improvement of controls, yun naman yung ginagawa normally. Okay. And then, of course, reporting structure. Etong tao na to, kanina siya magre-report. Diba? Supervisor niya, and then to the board of directors, if possible, ganyan. So, yun. There needs to be clear statements of responsibilities for the following aspects of the management of each priority significant risk. Okay? Setting required risk standards. Pero normally sa beginning, meron na nito. And then, implementing risk standards, tapos monitoring no risk performance. Is the company doing well or do they need to improve something? Okay. Detailed set of responsibilities, kasama dyan yung roles of risk owners, process owners, internal audit, risk manager, specialist risk management functions kung meron, members of staff na mag-execute sa implementation, and then contractors, if any, outsourced operations, let's say sa payroll, diba? They have to be on time, they have to comply with the laws and regulations, ganyan. As well as all others are clearly defined and understood dun sa risk management documentation under the responsibilities, okay? Information and ownership of each priority significant risk. Ayan, kailangan kasama rin siya dun sa risk register. Yung mga activities na yon, you have your your mga responsible people na yon, either risk manager, risk management committee, audit committee, internal auditors, or kahit yung department heads, mismo na nag-oversee ng isang particular department ng business. Okay? So, ayan. Not as a separate issue, that is the responsibility of specialist professional risk management and or internal audit practitioners. Okay. Although, yes, merong mga nag-check ng controls, syempre, yung mga managers, departmental heads, kailangan they're aware din, and they also keep track of the risk and its impact or effect on the company. And of course, if yung controls ba sa kanila ay na-a-apply ng maayos, sila pa din, although merong checkers, edi sila pa rin yung main na dapat ay mag-implement talaga. Okay, risk management and internal audit. So, merong close working relationship between risk management and internal audit. Essentially, itong internal audit, chine-check lang naman nila yung current controls and nagsasuggest kung merong mga improvements na pwedeng gawin. Okay? Yung 4 important risk-based outputs, ayan, ito yung CADE 3 natin. Compliance with appropriate standards, laws, and regulations. Essentially, ito rin yung chine-check ng internal audit if we're complying with laws and regulations sa standards. With regards to finance, edi more on accounting standards, and then sa laws, are we paying taxes? Are we remitting yung mga withheld contributions from the employees? Tapos yung regulations ng DOLE with regards to mga overtime, undertime, absences, 13th month pay, holiday premiums, mga ganyan. Nako-comply ba natin? Ganyan. And of course, yung tawag dito, legal age, kailangan ay 18 and above ang workers. Okay, assurance for the management team and other stakeholders. So you have to make sure na nagko-comply to provide that level of assurance. And then decisions regarding strategy based on the best information available. Okay, maayos ba? Okay, kumbaga ay naka-line up ba ng maayos yung strategy to attain the goals and objectives of the company. In a way, efficacious strategy siya. So, ito yung 3 na parang sinamarize na nila dito. Efficient processes, okay. Efficiency, again, refers to the usage of limited resources in maximizing the output or profit of the company. Tapos yung effective process, di ba, syempre yung hindi nakakalusot, would not create problems for the company. Okay? Kumbaga na-attain nga yung nare-reach naman yung ng maayos yung goals ng company din. And efficacious strategy, deliver the attainment or achievement of the goals and strategies. Okay. Magkaka-relate naman yan mga yan. All stakeholders need to work together. Okay. Lahat ng empleyado ng isang organization, of course, they have to be aware of the risk and the risk culture and the risk management na ginagawa ng company. Range of responsibilities. Responsibilities of line management, the main functional departments, and individual employees, kailangan ay nakastate din siya dun sa ating risk management documentation or yung ating risk register. Okay? So, ito yung mga professionals involved. And again, this would depend on the size of the organization. Sa mga small or medium organization, normally, yung ilan lang dito ang meron. Okay? For example, insurance risk manager. No, siguro kung very exposed to transferable risk yung company. So, they would probably have this. Like, mga property companies, real estate, diba? They have fire insurance, they have, mga related to calamity and destruction of properties. Okay? Normally, naka-insured. And then you have your corporate treasurer, more on finance ito. And finance director, internal auditor, more on compliance with laws, operational efficiency. Tapos you have your compliance manager, more on laws then, compliance to laws and regulations. Health, safety, environmental manager. In a way, dito sa atin, required ito ng DOLE, to ensure a healthy, safe environment for the workers. And then you have business continuity manager for the operations of the business. Risk management responsibilities. Ayan. Binigyan tayo dito ng breakdown. Okay. For the CEO, ayan, kailangan niyang mag-determine ng strategic approach to risk. Establish the structure for risk management. Kasi yung, kumbaga, yung magde-decide if they're going to have a risk management plan or initiative. Syempre yung board of directors pa din ang magbibigay ng go-ahead or signal na, okay, let's do this. Okay? So, CEO or board of directors. Understand the most significant risk or in a way to provide direction na din dun sa mga nasa baba na mag-execute, diba? Okay, which ones are we going to prioritize for this year? Consider the risk implementations of poor decisions, manage the organization in a crisis. Okay, kapag andyan na yung actual risk. Okay? And then, main responsibilities ng location manager, build risk-aware culture within the location, parang business premises. Agree risk management performance targets for the location, and merong performance targets. Evaluate reports from employees on risk management matters, ensure implementation of risk improvement recommendations, identify and report changed circumstances or risk. Tapos yung mga individual employees naman, understand, accept, and implement risk management processes. This is going to be easy kapag embedded na sa actual processes or procedures talaga yung risk management controls. Okay? Report inefficient, unnecessary, or unworkable controls. Since sila yung nasa baba, sila yung mismo nag-execute ng process. If they have, suggestions that would improve yung kanilang ginagawa, edi why not, diba? So they have to make reports on that. Let the managers know, let the people at the top know, okay, so that they can make the decisions. Report loss events and near-miss incidents. Cooperate with management on incident investigations. ensure that visitors and contractors comply with procedures. Ayan. Tapos for the risk manager, develop the risk management policy, keep it up to date, facilitate a risk-aware culture within the organization, establish internal risk policies and structures, coordinate the risk management activities, compile risk information, and prepare reports for the board. Alright? Tapos yung mga specialist risk management functions, if any lang naman. Ito yung sa medical field, sa energy sector, sa finance sector. Assist the company in establishing special risk policies, develop specialist contingency and recovery plans, keep up to date with developments in the specialist area, support investigations of incidents and near misses, prepare detailed reports on specialist risk. Okay. Tapos for the internal audit manager, develop a risk-based internal audit program, audit the risk processes across the organization, provide assurance on the management of risk, support and help develop the risk management processes, diba, kung kailangan pa ng improvements, and then report on the efficiency and effectiveness of internal control. Ayan. Externally, insurance brokers, insurance companies, accountancy firms, and external auditors, they have a contribution to make to the improved management of risk in their client organizations. Okay. Ito mga insurance brokers kasi diba sila yung magdi-deal with the transferable risk. Accountancy firms, external auditors, they do the audit of the compliance and the controls din. Ayan. Tapos, important that the benefits of risk management are embedded into the core processes of the organization para, easier implementation. Sufficiently high profile, kumbaga, give it proper importance. Hindi yung ini-ignore nyo lang yung presence of risk in the organization. Tapos, itong risk manager, meron silang board member. Nagre-report sila sa board member. Ang tawag dun sa board member, guardian of the risk architecture, strategy, and protocols. Okay, GRASP ang tawag. So, yung RASP natin, ilagyan lang ng G sa unahan. Guardian of risk architecture, strategy, and protocols. Sorry. Ayan. So, most important responsibility ng risk owner ay para sa risk owner. Siyempre, kasi sila yung risk owner. Person with authority and accountability to make the decision to treat or not to treat a risk. Okay? Normally, kapag, with significant effects, then you have to treat it. Kapag wala naman, edi, you can just tolerate it instead of treating it. So, yung guide, anyone who has accountability for an objective also has accountability for the risk associated with the objective and implementation of the controls to manage those risks. Okay? So, yan. Statutory responsibilities of management, I'm not sure dito sa Philippines. I think compliance, normally, we have SEC regulations, diba? Tapos yung mga financial institutions, you have your BSP, mga cooperatives, there's CDA. Tapos basta may employee ka, you have to comply with DOLE, SSS, PhilHealth, Pag-ibig, of course, GSIS for government agencies, and then BIR. Okay? So, ayan. Etong nandito, this is Companies Act of 2006 in the UK. Ang inclusions nila, act in accordance with allocated responsibilities, act in accordance with the constitution of the company, promote the success of the company, exercise independent judgment, exercise reasonable care, skill, and diligence, avoid or declare conflicts of interest, not accept benefits from third parties, parang bribes ito. Ayan. In a way, parang meron din man tayo nito here in the Philippines. Okay? Same guidelines then. Okay, di ba, bawal mag-accept ng bribes or kung ano man. Yung conflicts of interest, bawal din mag-engage dyan. Have to declare kapag meron. Tapos remove yourself from that particular transaction or situation if there is a conflict of interest. And of course, you have to make sure yun ito mga to. Ayan. So, promoting the success of the organization and exercising reasonable care, skill, and diligence. Executive directors will be full-time employees of the organization with a specific area of responsibility kasi sila yung executive. They are the decision makers. Okay? Tapos yung non-executive naman, they have a role to play pero kumbaga, restricted lang sila to audit, diba? Checking kung maayos ba yung operations. assurance and compliance activities. Pero yung directly involved in the operations, they're not allowed kasi non-executive sila. Yung executive lang ang directly involved talaga with the operations. Non-executive directors should not become directly involved. Ayan. Their role is to assist with the formation of strategy and monitoring of performance. They're going to hold accountable itong mga executive directors. Okay? Itong executive directors naman, role nila, implementation of strategy. Ayan. So, role of non-executive directors, itong mga nandito, strategy, constructively challenge and help develop proposals on strategy. Performance, scrutinize the performance of the management. Are they doing well or not? Call them out if they're not doing well. Risk, challenge the integrity of the financial information. Correct ba yan and complete. Control, seek assurance that financial controls and systems of risk management are robust and defensible. People, determine the appropriate level of remuneration for the executive directors and have a prime role in succession planning. Confidence, seek to establish and maintain confidence in the conduct of the company. Independence, be independent in judgment and promote openness and trust. Tapos knowledge, kailangan, di ba, competent. Keep yourself updated. Be well informed about the company and the external environment in which it operates with a strong command of relevant issues. Yeah. Tapos we have role of the risk manager. Okay, medyo magkakaiba ang tawag and sometimes this tawag dito. Meron lang nito normally yung mga big companies, large companies. Okay, national ang operations or multinational. Okay, but for the most part, mga small and medium companies, they don't, tama na yung meron na silang finance director, accountant, internal audit, external audit, finance director, ganyan. Pero yung compliance officer, ganyan. But etong magkaroon pa ng separate risk manager, normally yung BOD na ang sila na rin yan. But okay, of course in large companies, pwedeng they have a separate. Okay? Etong risk manager, what they do, assess overall risk policy with endorsement from the board. So, itong risk management normally ina-assign or ina-appoint ng board of directors or board of trustees. Okay? Decisions on insurance risk management issues, provision of statistical analysis of insurance losses has been part of their responsibilities. Okay? Itong insurance risk manager, merong distinction na about insurance lang. So, evaluate the current status of risk management and reflect on the current state of the insurance market. And then, of course, kung mas appropriate ba na mag-avail ng insurance or self-insurance na lang sa company. So, one consideration. Risk managers may report to human resource, finance director, or the corporate secretary. Tapos sometimes, report din sila sa corporate treasurer or sa CEO. Reportorial requirements, in a way, para syempre aware itong mga nasa taas kung ano nangyayari sa baba. Alright? Risk management facilitator and coordinator. So, you have your risk manager, and then, of course, kung medyo marami talaga yung trabaho, bulk ng workload, so you can have the risk management facilitator and coordinator. Apply risk management tools and techniques to a wider range of issues. Tapos, yung risk, insurable and non-insurable. Kapag insurable, normally, diba, pinapaubaya na sa insurance companies. And then, let's focus on the insurable, non-insurable. Okay, so ito yung historical role of insurance risk manager. Establish the risk management strategy for protecting company property and people. Coordinate the company insurance program through the captive insurance company. To work with the manager of the captive to maximize the contribution made by the captive insurance company. Maintain key insurers relationships. Monitor service providers and ensure cost-effective placement of insurance contracts. Measure and monitor cost of risk performance of the group and individual group companies to ensure safekeeping and adequate retention of all insurance contracts and agreements. To supervise the coordination of service provider activities and place the group and global insurances. to coordinate the property survey program, risk management procedures, and incentive schemes. Ayan. But essentially, this is historical. Some of these could still be applicable today. Some are no longer applicable. Okay. And risk manager responsible then for corporate learning so that the organization can understand the benefits of risk management. In a way, parang siya rin yung responsible for making sure na merong risk-aware culture yung organization and that every employee is going to be supportive of it. Developing the strategies, systems, and procedures. Tapos, greater involvement in project management and strategy formulation and delivery. Since siya yung nakakaalam naman talaga ng overall risk situation ng company. Tapos you have your Chief Risk Officer. So again, this is for, very big companies na lang. Okay? Ayan. Benefits of bringing the management of credit, market, and operational risk together. Okay. Parang rin, overall din talaga. Or focal person. Role of the Chief Risk Officer, reporting directly to the CEO. Approach to risk should be proportionate to the level of risk. Decide the appropriate range of responsibilities and level of seniority of the risk manager. So, in a way, parang under niya ang mga risk managers. Not universal, becoming common in the specialist finance and energy sectors. Okay, kasi ito medyo mga big companies talaga. Superior description of the role. Okay, yung grasp natin. Guardian of the risk, architecture, strategy, and protocols. Ayan. Ito yung role niya. Ensure that limited company resources are applied effectively. Tapos yung COSO ERM framework, ito yung definition ng role. Working with other managers to establish effective risk management, monitoring progress, and assisting other managers in reporting relevant risk information up, down, and across the organization. Okay. Tapos yung internal auditors naman, evaluating the accuracy of ERM reporting and providing independent and value-added recommendations to management about its ERM approach. ERM, enterprise, tama ba? Enterprise risk management. Okay. Evaluating the reliability of reporting effectiveness, efficiency of operations, and compliance with laws and regulations. Okay. So, normally kasi yun naman talaga yung may mga presence of risk sa company. Alright, so that's it for this one. Again, risk management responsibilities. Okay, so yung mga tao na directly involved, that directly responsible for the management of the specific risk identified in the organization. Right? So that's it for this one. Thanks and bye.